So I just want to take a minute and talk a little bit about fluids, vehicle fluids in particular. Over the last couple of weeks, for whatever reason, it's come up that in discussion with customers that manufacturers are telling them that they have lifetime fluids in their cars. I didn't know that this was still a thing. I know that not too long ago, Toyota tried that with their world standard fluid and said that their world standard transmission fluid was quote unquote lifetime fluid until they started having transmission problems at 120, 130, 140,000 miles, and it was all because of fluid breakdown. Talking with my technicians who have been in this industry just as long, if not longer than me, and then obviously doing my research, I failed to find any fluid or any manufacturer that sells a fluid that doesn't break down eventually. With our vehicles and our climate here in Colorado, fluids are under extreme amount of stress, extreme temperature changes, and so it's just going to be normal that those fluids start to break down through dirt and debris, oxidation, again, big temperature swings. Most transmission fluids, for example, are designed to run at about 175, 180 degrees Fahrenheit, depending on where you're measuring the temperature from. But after those certain degrees, 175, 180, let's call it, that fluid does start to break down. Transmission fluid, for example, again, has anti-foaming agents in it. And as that temperature increases, those anti-foaming agents start to break down, and then the transmission fluid can start to bubble, which can lead to bigger problems. As that fluid breaks down and continues or no longer has the necessary additives for the friction material inside the transmission, then the transmission is going to start to slip, going to start to exhibit problems. So here at Antero Automotive, we don't try to push excessive fluid maintenance on anybody, but what we have done is we've done our research on what manufacturers recommend servicing certain fluids at what intervals. And so some manufacturers say this particular fluid, we'll say a gear oil, for example, needs to be serviced every 15,000 miles, while some manufacturers say the same gear oil needs to be serviced every 50,000 miles. Or some manufacturers say that same gear oil doesn't need to be serviced at all and is lifetime. Well, that doesn't make any sense to me. I can equate it to manufacturers trying to exhibit lower maintenance costs, all in all, so that if they say, hey, we have a lifetime fluid in our car, then you don't have to service it, and that keeps maintenance costs down. Well, what they don't tell you is that when the vehicle is out of warranty, then all of a sudden you have problems with either leaks or burnt clutches or complete component failure. For example, I had a customer that came in just recently, and they said, my specific vehicle manufacturer does not have a service interval or does not require servicing of the vehicle's transfer case or the rear differential. And so I did my research and I found that that is the case. They don't recommend servicing that particular fluid. And I did some more research to figure out what fluid they are using. Is it some sort of special space age fluid that doesn't ever break down? Is it something that is unattainable, you can only buy from that specific manufacturer, made for that manufacturer? And what I found was no. I found that fluid is just a regular fluid. Yes, it has some additives in it in a certain additive package, but that doesn't mean that fluid never breaks down. Also, what I found when I did my research was that customers were starting to have problems with these units or these components, the transfer case to be exact, failure at 120 to 140,000 miles. We're recommending that specific fluid is serviced every 30 to 50,000 miles. With our ever-changing weather conditions and driving conditions, whether you're going up the mountains or driving through traffic or whatnot, you're constantly stressing that fluid. So for example, there are a lot of transfer cases and rear differentials in smaller SUVs, the Honda CR-V, Toyota RAV4, some Volvos, Mercedes, whatnot, that hold roughly 400 milliliters of fluid, and that's all they hold. So this cup is 200 milliliters of fluid. So 200 milliliters of fluid is roughly 1 cup of oil. So what manufacturers are saying, what certain manufacturers are saying is that you're going to run roughly 2 cups of oil for the lifetime of the vehicle in a rear differential. It's never going to break down, it's never going to fail, never going to need service. And that I can't wrap my head around. So here at Antero Automotive, we have gotten together as a team and as a group. I've got all master certified technicians that work for me, one world-class technician that works for me. And we've all decided on service intervals that these fluids should be changed. We've researched the fluid types, the weights, and we've come up with not necessarily vehicle-specific services, but fluid-specific services. We never want to sell you something that you don't need, but what we do want to do is be proactive and not reactive. I don't want to see your car coming in on a tow truck because you haven't serviced the rear differential. Not saying that's going to happen, but let's prevent it from happening. When it comes down to a service that's very affordable and only needs to be done every 30 to 50,000 miles, why not take care of it? So here we are just trying to protect your car. Cars anymore are big, big investments. We've seen car values or car prices change drastically in the last 4 years. And so it's a really good idea that we just protect your investment. We're not here, again, to sell you services that you don't need. We're just here to protect your investment. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. Have a great day.